17 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall on Main Street in Raleigh, Mass. First order of business is to call the meeting to order. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Bob?
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I didn't add it to the agenda, but I'm going to take a moment to just to say a couple of words about Saturday afternoon, that the Friends of the Raleigh Public Library put on a chili cook-off, and they did a fantastic job. They had a good crowd, and people enjoyed the chili, and there was a lot for the kids to do, and the band music was, I sat through several hours of it, and it was really, really good. Enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. We seemed to have a lot of fun all afternoon. So we congratulate the, I think it was a very successful time for the Friends, and I think they did pretty well. They seem to have a good crowd. So we will go on. We will have Citizens Query about 10 minutes past, if I can get to it. We will have a 7:15 appointment, and then we will go right now to general business. General business, we had road opening permits from National Grid for the following: to open 5 Walnut Drive, to install cathodic protection on steel gas main, to open 5 Burke Avenue, to install cathodic protection on steel gas main, to open 18 Burke Avenue to install cathodic protection on steel gas main, to open 279 Central Street to install a new gas service, and to open 37 Bennett Hill Road to install a new gas service. The road opening permits were signed off by the staff for the locations listed above. So that takes care of general business. Yes, this meeting is being recorded digitally and audio, and will be played in, is recorded in broadcast live by Raleigh Community Media. New business, number 1. Notice from the Historic District that a public hearing will be held on October 5th at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall Annex on an application from the Raleigh Grange, located at 29 Central Street, to install a fence. This letter is to inform you that a public hearing will be held at the Town Hall Annex, 39 Central Street, on October 5th, 2017, at 7 p.m. to hear a proposal to install a fence around the building. The application is from the Raleigh Grange, number 204. The property is located at 29 Central Street. The land is in the Raleigh Historic District and is shown on the assessors map, number 24, block 133. Any questions or concerns? No? We have no questions or concerns. Thank you. We have new business number 2. Request from Frank DeLisi to be appointed to the Raleigh Cultural Council. My name is Frank DeLisi, and I moved to Raleigh in August of 2016 from Lynnfield, Mass. In Lynnfield, I was an active member of the community, coaching several youth sports teams, teaching CCD, sitting on the town's recreation commission, and participating in many other community groups. With my first year of home ownership in Raleigh in the books, I recently went to the town's website to see how I could become a more active citizen. While on the town's homepage, I saw that volunteers were needed for the Raleigh Cultural Council to help continue to receive state funding for the town. I would hate to see this town lose out on funding, so I would like to volunteer my time to this cause. I may also submit letters of interest for other vacancies after discussing these openings further with my family.
He's got a good recommendation. I'd make a motion we approve his
I'll second that.
appointment to the cultural committee.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve, to appoint Frank DeLisi to the Raleigh Cultural Council. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Old business. We have an update on the Pine Grove School project. Chairman Perry will update the board. Number one, the MSBA project funding agreements have been signed by Chairman Joe Perry. Pink and Company will forward them to the MSBA for signatures. Number two, the civil engineering firm working on the project, Niche Engineering, has started the permit application process. Niche Engineering has filed for 2 Conservation Commission permits, a notice of intent and stormwater management permit. The hearings on these applications are scheduled for tomorrow evening, with the Conservation Commission starting at 7:45 p.m. Chairman Perry has been working with the architect and contractor on establishing the construction start date. The building committee will be meeting next week and will finalize the list of alternates. The contractor has made a proposal to the working group that they think that the scheduling has been is very ambitious. They were scheduled to start work June, at the close of school, in June of next year. And they were to work next summer and then through the school year starting in September and finishing a year from next September. They have found that it is too ambitious a work schedule, and they asked the working group if they could start on April vacation of this school year. By starting on April vacation, they will start at the front door, and they will start in the all-purpose room and in the school kitchen. And that would mean that the school kitchen will be inoperable for the last few months of the school year, and they have already worked out a schedule where they can have bag lunches for the kids for that period of time. If they do go with this advanced scheduling, it does mean that we will have to make some arrangements for town meeting, as the all-purpose room will not be available. One alternate is that I've talked to Brian Forget, Superintendent of Schools for Triton, is to use the gymnasium, which happens to be bigger than the all-purpose room.
Mr. Chairman, just, we wouldn't be able to have live feed on that, unlike here in Rowley, on
That's
that
true.
cable channel.
That's
I
true.
think some consideration or thought needs to go into that by the selectmen.
And another possibility is, which we wouldn't have a live feed on, also would be to use St. Mary's Hall. So we may be able to work something out. We have time to work on that and to make some adjustments, but we will review those possibilities. Any questions? Got any?
I think that's you.
Okay. Sorry about that. So, that takes care of the update on the Pine Grove School project. Bernie,
Exactly are the dates that we're talking about? The town meeting will be when, exactly?
the town meeting is scheduled for April 30th.
And they're talking about starting their work on what date in April?
I don't know when school vacation is in April.
Patriot States.
Yeah, so whatever that week of Patriots. Day.
Yeah, wait, the week of Patriots Day.
The third week.
Probably the week before the town meeting, or week and a half, if it was the last day of the month, the last Monday, right, the 30th.
Yeah, it will be,
So it'll
it's
be-
April 30th is a Monday.
It'd be a week in between the vacation, probably, and
Usually Patriots Day is the third Monday.
Yeah, which is the
So,
16th.
The 16th.
I know that contractors can be very creative and work in all kinds of precarious situations that may be a counter proposal, which gets them working in some areas, that, you know, the kitchen, and maybe keeping that room free.
Yeah, it's only talking a
Could
week
be
and a half.
possible, I would say.
Well, that's one of the issues that we'll take up with the, at the meeting next week. Okay. We have, citizens query is now open for the next 5 minutes. Old business number 2, authorize Town Administrator Deborah Egan to sign the Community Compact Grant forms. The town has received good news on the Community Compact Grant. The state has approved the Bridges and Culverts Grant. We've received a $25,000 grant to have the bridges and culverts assessed by a professional firm. The firm will make recommendations on preventive maintenance, repairs, and on the development of a maintenance program. The Department of Revenue has designated Debbie as the grant manager, and she is listed on the paperwork. We need the Board of Selectmen to vote Town Administrator Deborah Egan as an authorized signatory on the grant paperwork. Chairman Perry needs to sign on the contractor authorized signatory sheet in the designated area.
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve that, to allow Debbie to sign and for me to sign on the grant paperwork. All those in favor say aye.
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 Deb?
Just a comment that,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
just a comment that it's something that we could really use, because we got a number of culverts in town that have issues and problems.
Yes.
And even that bridge over at Glen Street, so that
Exactly, so this was
we can
one
get
of-
some information out, that get started on
Yeah.
a plan and for a longer term, that'd be great.
We're very pleased because we haven't even received a notification on the community compact. So this was Highway Surveyor Patrick Snow's best management practice, and it was fast-tracked through the Department of Revenue. So we were really pleased to get this thing done.
Pat's been very good with going, checking the culverts and everything else, but this is something we
That's
really,
right.
really need.
The culvert on Hillside is always overflowing.
Yes.
And then there's the one down on 133 near the tavern that
That's right.
locks up heavy during heavy rain, so we could
Right.
be a handy grant to be able to use.
Okay. We have old business number 3, update on the fire station and police station addition project. The architect has been working with Debbie on finalizing the bid documents. Town Council Tom Mullen recommends the Board of Selectmen vote on the liquidated damages provision in the supplementary general conditions. Attorney Mullen is okay with the amount of $2,500, which architect Greg Carell believes to be sufficient, but he feels the Board of Selectmen should vote to set the amount of liquidated damages. The bid documents are scheduled to be released on October 12th, 2017.
Debbie, what exactly are liquidated damage?
So if there's a breach in contract, we determine that we're set back, that it's resulting in damage to the town, we will have the right to pursue a claim against them
Okay,
based on the sum of $2,500.
I'll give you a motion to approve them.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the amount of $2,500.
That's right. So you can see in this draft, that's what we have, and Tom Mullen does say that he's okay with this, but he just feels that it should be a vote of the Board of Selectmen on setting that. Greg Carell thinks that's sufficient as well.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Wow, 7:15.
Doing good, Joe.
Doing good. Cruising right along. If I get the right folder, I'm all set. We have a 7:15 appointment with Jenna Haig, Police Captain David Sedgwick, to discuss safety concerns with aggressive speeders on Hillside Street, Glen Street, Weldon Farm Road, and Weathersfield Street. Jenna submitted the attached letter outlining her concerns about the aggressive speeders on Hillside Street, Glen Street, Weldon Farm Road, and Weathersfield Street. Police Chief Dumas was asked to look into Ms. Haig's concerns, and his response is also attached. I'll let you speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Vice Chairman and Selectman Peterson. as I asked you in that letter, I was asking for an audience to address the situation that I continuously find myself in as a resident and a homeowner on Hillside Street off of Glen. It's become increasingly dangerous, especially when turning left onto Glen, and I wonder if I can just show you some. I know you're very familiar with the area, but this is specifically what I'm referring to. I live right off of the turn from Hillside onto Glen, across from the big houseboat, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
It's our beautiful point in the area. When taking a left right there, I have been verbally accosted on a number of occasions by drivers following behind me and tailgating, and they're flipping me the bird and they're honking at me, and so have many of my neighbors. And we've come together on Nextdoor, as my letter to you indicated, to discuss what can we do as a group. And I've talked with Captain Sedgwick, and thank you, by the way, it's nice to meet you, and Chief Dumas in the past, and just asking what can we do as a community. If the funds aren't there, how do we have funds to create more signage or do something, put a mirror at that corner, because that's a blind curve anyway, and if you don't stop, you increase your chances of getting hit tenfold. So this was the first place to begin. I took it upon myself, on behalf of all my neighbors and myself, to do something about it. It's become a raceway, and it's very dangerous, and we don't feel comfortable walking or our dogs or jogging or anything there. And it's come to my attention that it's not just Hillside and Glen, but it's Weathersfield, and I know that the police are just over, they're maxed out. I realize that, and I respect that. So that's why I wanted to come to you as a community and a concerned citizen. What can we do to try to rein in this issue? It's really out of control.
This is the site of a fatal accident about 14 years ago.
It was, and I live right at that telephone pole, or that area. And I don't want to see another one.
No.
And we can't see to turn there unless we look through the windows of that houseboat.
It's true, and I live on Bennett Hill, and we have the same concerns because of speeders. But the thing that you have that exacerbates the situation is that you have that turn, and it's very dangerous. I come down Glen
Yes.
from Triton very often because I go up to the school
have one
committee
of those
meetings.
pictures there.
And when you make that turn, it's very difficult to see if there's somebody coming up from Hillside, and it is very dangerous. But we have the same concerns. We've had. I was hoping that Larry Waite would be here from the Finance Committee. He lives on Central Street, and that has become a raceway. And we just have, I don't know what it is, that the people now are just speeding and flying, and we don't have enough policemen to have all over town to control the situation. We can, I think they do a very good job, but maybe Captain would want to comment.
Again, I had a very nice, pleasant conversation with Ms. Haig back in July, I believe it was. And I thought we came up with a fairly good plan. We have been on Hillside specifically by orders, we call it patrol advisory, since March. And we've been aware of the problem. And she's right, it's not just Weathersfield, it's not just Hillside, it's not Glen, it's Leslie, it's Cross, it's Central, it's Summer, the list is endless. There's 15 patrol advisories on our sheet right now. The majority of them are for speeding enforcement on those different roads. Our officers are out on Hillside. They're making stops. We've asked our officers to, without taking away their discretion, to lower their threshold on what a stop is. And they're doing that. So the problem becomes is that the speeding is specific to a time. So it's the speeders are coming through on Hillside and Glen Street at the hours of Triton arrival and the Triton dismissals. The problem becomes is we can't be on Central, Glen, Hillside, Weathersfield, Daniels, Dodge, all at the same time. So I can assure you that we are out there and that we're trying our best. And
Is it that Hillside and Weldon Farm are cut through?
absolutely.
Absolutely. And may I just say that I know you all are doing everything within your power, and I get notices all the time on Nextdoor that you've gotten someone else.
Yeah.
We're just constantly, the Central Street is happening a lot, where they get right up on you and then they begin to either honk their horn or make gestures at you when you're simply going the speed limit.
Yep.
And I don't know if more signage is going to help, but I do know that there's only one sign that says children before you get to Hillside when you come from Route 1 onto Glen. There's only one sign that says that. And then there's a sign that says, right before you get there, dangerous curve. It's somewhat obscured because of the growth there. So, I mean, even if it's a matter of financial things within I don't know what to do because I've never run across this before, but I'm willing to do what it takes to help. Short of deputizing me, but whatever I could do to help, if it means we increase the signage, if we, I did a lot of research and they said radar signage, it's your, the self that tells you how fast you're going, decreases speeding significantly. But it's also a very expensive way to sign, and you only have so many of those you can put places.
Correct.
Right, so what do?
Yeah, I have the same problem on Bennett Hill. I think I'm the only one who does 25 on Bennett Hill.
Yeah, I
Opposed
do.
to speed limit. And you always have, you look in the mirror and there's somebody, right on top of you because you're doing the 25 mile per hour and nobody expects it coming over the hill.
And that's a cut-through street.
It is.
From Weathersfield over to Central. A few years ago, we had the same situation down, it was at Newburgh Road, and we put additional signs out there.
I'm not sure the signs were the
Coming in from Ipswich.
solution. I'm not sure the signs were the solution or the police enforcement was the solution.
Well,
but-
between the two of them.
Yeah.
yes.
They still fly down,
They
that's my
still do,
street,
yeah.
they still
They
fly down through. There's
Do
no,
any streets have speed bumps around here?
you can't put speed bumps with plowing and
Oh,
you
that's
run
true,
into
too.
liability if someone hits a speed bump and goes off the road.
I can say,
Well, thank you for that. I
when
didn't.
Captain Sedgwick was a patrolman, I went out and rode with him. And on this side of town, you were on the east side at that particular time. And that night, in the 8-hour patrol, we did 4 radars we set up. Okay, you stopped 2 people, I remember. And there was one on Bennett Hill, and the other one was on Haverhill Street. It was 2 stops in 8 hours. So they are out there, and I see them around town. I'm not going to say where the radars, I've seen them, but they're set up in the morning, and I've seen them in the afternoon because I spend most of my time in town during the day. So, and like we did on Leslie, we put signage down there, and it seemed to, and plus the aggressive patrolling, it seemed to help. So,
There's this one sign, I researched signage too, and what's allowed and so forth. So, I mean, there are different signs out there that play more to the community spirit of things.
Mhm.
Like, we love our children and our animals, or I see that a lot in Beverly and different places. And there's one about, people walking and biking, and it just says, slow down, watch for these things. What's the process in getting signage or something around that very, very dangerous corner?
Yeah, can we get a strictly enforced, the radar,
We've got one at the beginning of Glen.
approach.
Right, it'd be a cooperative effort with Patrick Snow.
Yeah, Patrick was very cooperative about putting those signs up. I think we put 4 to 6 signs up down in Leslie.
The problem, Bob, is you get, every street, we start putting signs on every street, nobody reads them. They become just part of the landscape. I would suggest, looking at the chief's letter here, that there's been 8 verbal warnings and 6 were for speed. How
Let's
about,
keep it up.
how about switching from verbal warnings to written warnings?
So
I mean,
that's what,
that
that's
is-
what we're encouraged.
That isn't gonna hurt a driver as far as his insurance goes, but I think the situation requires that we clamp down.
Yeah, we've encouraged that, Mr. Peterson, and we've also, anyone who's been stopped more than once on the same road have been,
Right.
we encourage written, not written warnings, but citation with fines.
Yeah,
So-
if we get a written warnings, and then if the officers tell the driver, we get 3 of these, or 2 of them, whatever the policy might be, that it's gonna
They're
be a
gonna get
summons
written.
after, court summons after that, so. I mean, it's not an easy answer, and I know, being a police officer myself, you kinda hate to go out and the public thinks you're harassing them when you're stopping them, but I mean, this is a situation that exists, and we need to do something with it. I'm just not one that's in favor of throwing up signs everywhere. I just think that we get sign clutter.
I think Mrs. Haig's right about maybe just a few more signs, because it does seem to be lacking on the hillside area, with stricter enforcement with penalties. I think we could probably quell some of these problems, so, our efforts are starting, so.
Yeah, the other issue is if you're coming down Glen Street from Triton, and is there any possibility of putting a stop sign at the corner of Hillside there? I mean, that's a little more complicated, and it may be another issue, but the problem I find is, and I used to drive the school bus up through there in my school bus days, and I go up that way a lot, just driving around when I leave the coffee shop, I go down Hillside and Glen, and I know that a couple of times I've had close calls coming up Glen Street to take a left on Hillside, because the cars come, it's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit coming from Triton down through that intersection, but nobody does 25, and if you're starting the way the road, the visibility is there, if you're halfway through the turn or something, you're gonna have a problem.
Yep.
Oh, and forget even trying to walk
Yeah,
over there.
no, like walking, I
'Cause you'll be
mean, that
smushed.
corner there's nothing we can do with the corner is horrible.
Yeah.
Making a three-way stop, you think, Dave?
Well, I'm just gonna throw it out, I don't know if it's feasible or not, but I think, in other words, that would at least slow the traffic coming down. One of the biggest problems that I found out there is it's less people coming up Glen than it is going down, because you start at the top of that hill and now you're coming down and just flying around
Yeah.
the corner. And with people on their cell phones and texting or
Oh,
whatever
it's
they're doing,
just-
it's even, I mean, today, my wife and I walk on Newbury Road all the time.
Ugh.
And you don't know how many times we've nearly gotten hit by, and a lot of it's just drivers, they're not paying attention.
Oh, I almost got hit.
And I don't know what we can do about that, but I would throw that out there as it may not be a solution, but I think if we could get the traffic coming down
From the
Glen's-
Triton towards the,
from Triton to, if we
At
can get
the
that traffic
corner.
to slow down,
And 95.
that might really help that whole corner. It's not gonna solve it, but it might help it, so,
My
there is a
understanding,
stop sign on Hillside, right?
right.
there is,
Yes.
My understanding is, Mr. Peterson, that Mass DOT would have to do a survey of that area in order to change the traffic pattern by putting
Yeah.
a stop sign in, but we could,
They've turned a lot of that. I thought didn't they, Debbie,
Change the speed limit now, cities
well,
and
speed limit,
towns
they
have-
changed some of those regulations to
One
give
of the
the cities and
municipal
towns more.
modernization
Like I say, I'm just throwing this out. I have absolutely no idea, and I've been out of the business too long to.
Well, Mr. Peterson, it's the first great idea I've heard. That really, I like that idea, and I would love to do whatever I can to help spearhead that, whatever I have to do.
To me, that would be, I don't know, I think that would be the best solution if we can do it. I don't know if it's legal, I have no idea beyond that, but I think that would solve, and then if you put an extra sign or two on
On Glen.
Hillside or Glen,
Glen.
What's the speed
Yeah.
limit coming
Glass
up
Hill.
Glen from
Yes.
Route 1?
I think it's 25 both ways, right?
It's 25
Yes.
until you get right before you get to Route 1 around the bridge on Glen. It turns to 20 miles an hour.
Funny, because it's a narrow bridge.
Right.
Oh, no, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Nobody
I-
cares about that either.
Yeah,
I've
we could-
almost gotten hit going.
Oh, yeah.
The bridge is something that on the other thing that we
Yeah.
just looked at,
Right,
the
and I heard
compact
that.
is something we really need to look at, but,
well, if I could suggest, I could look into, that.
yeah, I mean,
option
it's just
and
a,
see what's,
it may not be
required.
doable, but I think that comes the closest to
And-
being a simple solution to really slow the traffic down. It's gonna require those cars to stop, and I hate to do it I realize they're on the road that Glen Street stays Glen Street, but,
But if they have to
worst
stop-
comes to worst, we look at putting Make it a three-way stop sign, all three ways if it's gonna be a problem.
Now, in the morning, we had a problem coming down 133. People were coming down, cutting through to go to Cape Ann, and we go down Leslie Road or Newbury Road.
Yeah.
Cut through, get down to Linebrook,
Linebrook.
and then go up
Yes.
that way. Now, in the same thought, people coming down off of 95 and coming down Glen Street in the morning, and taking the cut and going down Central Street, I'm thinking, and doing that way to cut off and trying to get to the Cape Ann area. Is that,
It's a three-way, yeah.
is it at 8 o'clock? 9
Oh,
o'clock
it's
in the morning?
just,
So,
one of the things we loved when we first moved there was the peace and quiet of it all, and it's really become very, very busy.
Yep. Yep.
But
That'd be
you-
a great,
Yeah.
you know, we could check into it and find out just what the regulations
Let
are.
me look into that, and I'll report back to you, and
If Pat can,
Another
just
discussion.
buys the signs, if he should have some money in his budget at this point to add a couple
Yeah,
of
but-
signs that you feel appropriate for any one of those three streets, I think we'd be more than pleased to put those up. But it's gonna take more than just signs. I
Yes.
think. People don't read the signs. I mean, when I was learning to be a bus driver, I was doing my training years ago, a dozen years ago, when the trainer was training me, he says, we'd go by speed limit signs, and he'd say, what was the speed limit here? And you'd go, 30? No, the sign said 25. So when you're driving, and I say that because people drive by this, they don't even look at them. The signs just become, they might notice them the first day, but after that, it just becomes part of the landscape, and
Yep.
they're not paying attention. So, I mean, it's important that we put some signs up, but on the other hand, to change the driving pattern, I think would take a stop sign, if we can do that. And I don't know if we can, like I say, it may not be something we can actually do, but
I think as Captain Sedgwick said, that they've changed, that they're going to do more written rather than a warning. And so that that should might improve the situation. Hopefully it will.
on some of the newer cars, on the mapping system on the car, it tells you
Yes,
the speed limit on the map of the
Oh,
street
yeah.
you're on.
but it also tells you the best shortcut, which is Glen Street.
Yes.
yep, it does. It
it
does.
also means you look at the map instead of the road.
Yep,
Well, I'd
Ernie?
like to thank you, gentlemen, for
No, it's-
giving me the opportunity.
Thanks for
to
coming in. I
come
mean,
and talk to you
it's
about
it's a
this.
big issue, and
Thank you,
It is.
Captain.
it is. It's very important. It's becoming more of an issue. As I said, there are more areas in town. It's not just Glen, and you know, it's other areas. Bernie?
The people who you're handing warnings out to, are they commuters, adults, or are they students?
Yeah, it's across the board.
It's across the board.
We have people that can't even walk their horses on Weathersfield across the street because of the trucks flying by. I mean, so they're business trucks, big, huge trucks. Yeah.
Coming down
Well, those
Weathersfield,
sh-
Oh,
those
yeah,
shouldn't be-
people,
Those shouldn't be on Weathersfield,
No.
because Weathersfield is a
Well-
designated country.
Yeah,
I've
but
gotten
the
lots
delivery
of
trucks and
feedback
stuff.
on
Yeah.
next door that these big trucks are coming down Weathersfield as a shortcut.
you don't see the tractor trailers so much, but you see a lot of
No.
delivery trucks that are,
Yep.
I see those out there when I'm going through that area. No, it's a real problem. And the other problem is these roads that we have, the ones we're talking about, are not pedestrian friendly.
No.
Newbury Road isn't, Bennett Hill Road isn't.
Nope.
Those roads that you're talking about aren't. And I know there's a lot of dog walkers up to Dodge Road and parts of Weathersfield Street, so.
I think people want to keep the countryness of it, I guess, and
Yeah.
instead of building sidewalks and all kinds of stuff, but
Well, the funny part of sidewalks is if you go down the roads with sidewalks, invariably, you probably run across this, the people are pushing the baby carriages in the street,
Right.
while the sidewalk is over there. It's unbelievable. I mean,
It is.
9 times out of 10, they're
That's
walking in
true.
the street when a sidewalk exists.
Yep.
you have to
So-
pay for the betterment.
Makes you wonder.
Thank you.
Thank you
Okay,
very
good-
much.
Good luck.
thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Captain.
It's a no-win situation.
Okay, we have minutes. We have minutes for the Board of Selectmen meeting for September 18th, and we can't vote on that one because I was absent.
That's right. Okay, we can't vote on that.
So we have the minutes for the Board of Selectmen meeting for September 25th.
Any motion for that, Mr. Chairman?
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes for the Board of Selectmen meeting for September 25th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Okay. We have announcements. The Halloween trick-or-treat hours are 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Tuesday, October 31st, 2017. The Eastern Essex Veterans Services District is holding a ceremony on Friday, October 20th, 2017, at 4 p.m. at the Performing Arts Center at Ipswich High School, in which the Korean Consulate will be presenting the Korean Ambassador for Peace Medal to the Korean War veterans or next of kin. For more information, please contact the Veterans Office at 978-356-3915. Information on the Pine Grove School project is available on the town's website at www.townofraleigh.net. The town has the following vacancies: Council on Aging, 1 seat; Cultural Council, 1 seat; Open Space Committee, 1 seat; Fence Viewer, 3 positions; Wood, Lumber, and Bark Inspector; Zoning Board of Appeals Associate, 3 seats; Parks and Recreation Committee, 1 seat; Deputy Shellfish Constables, 2 positions. For more information on these positions, please contact the Selectman's Office at 948-2372. The Raleigh Food Pantry is in need of donations. Donations can be left at the Raleigh Public Library. The food pantry is open on Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and on Thursdays from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Mr. Chairman, we got a late notice today from the Health Department that they are sponsoring, in conjunction with Conley's Pharmacy, a flu clinic on Thursday, October 12th at the Town Hall Annex from 2 to 4 and 5 to 6:30 p.m. And anyone interested should bring their Medicare or insurance card and a valid ID.
That's Thursday,
Thursday,
September-
October 12th.
October 12th.
From 2 to 4 and 5 to 6:30.
Very good. Have a motion?
I give you a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.